Hello, Facebook. All right, welcome to today's workshop. We are on part two of a two-part workshop series. Last week, we talked all about why our body gets out of balance, how we can rebalance. We talked all about that. And so this week, I really want to focus on how we can look underneath the surface and really get to the root issue. And so also in last week's video, I talked a lot about the beginning of my story and why I'm so passionate about doing what I do. And so I encourage you to go back and look at that if you would like to. I'll definitely post the link up under the Facebook group, and I'll share it on Instagram as well. But that was a really great chat. I've gotten a lot of good feedback from that, and I'm so thankful to share my story and why I'm so passionate about this. But I just want to kind of recap, like I said. So I talked about last week about what throws your body out of balance and how you can really rebalance to gain resilience in your health. And that truly means long-lasting health. That means energy. That means clarity. All of those things. That's what resilience means to me. And I created the new course that just launched last Friday. I created all of that with you in mind, because I know that information has been so valuable to me, and really to know how the systems work and why our body gets off balance is just as important as knowing how to rebalance. And so I explain all of that in a really simple, easy to understand way. And honestly, the course alone will get you about 80% of the way there. If you take the time to understand and to take it to heart and really take action on what I cover in that course. But what about the other 20%? That really is kind of looking at what's going on underneath the surface to identify the real root cause of what is causing you those symptoms. That's not always the case, but most of the time it is. And diet alone won't always work. Supplements alone won't always work. Reducing toxic load, exercise, there's some other things that we think about living a healthy lifestyle. Those things won't always work by themselves, but it's really the combination and having a targeted approach that will create the fastest and most complete healing. And so that's really what I mean by 80% of the way there. The course will get you that far. 80% of the way to like feeling your best, so like your best health. It'll get you far, but it won't get you all the way there. And that's what I have seen in my own personal journey. And so that's really what I go over in the course. And then today we're going to talk about that last 20%. So today we're going to focus on that 20%, which to me really focuses in on how can we look what's going on beneath the surface. Because the thing is, in the course, I give you general foundational recommendations and processes and all of that, right? That's going to get you most of the way there just by doing those things and doing them correctly. I think we hear a lot about diet, we hear a lot about exercise, and those tools are great, but when they're used in the wrong way, that can actually throw our body more off balance in some situations. And so I talk a lot about how we should go about approaching those big areas in our life, right? We have to eat, we need to move, but hey, let's do it in the right way so that we're not creating more stress on our body. But the purpose of functional labs is to really get a snapshot of various levels in your body so that we have a better picture of what's going on, what levels are out of balance, pinpoint things that shouldn't be there but that are there. And so I'm going to go through the different labs that I can run and why you would want to do each one. But let me preface this by saying that oftentimes one lab will not tell the whole story. And that's why I really don't run one-off labs or run single labs for people. Because if you're really going to get to the root cause, we need more information than one test can provide. And so right now I want to look at each test individually because I get a lot of questions like, what does this test do? How do you take it? Which one should I get? And I'm gonna go through all of that. And so if you have questions, please don't hesitate to put them down below, and I'll go through and answer those at the end. Okay, so let's first start with the organic acids test. And this one is probably the one I get the most questions about because, I mean, a stool test is something that we've heard of, hair mineral tissue analysis test, hormone test. Like these are things that we've heard of before probably and can maybe understand why you would run them from the name, but organic acids test is not something that a lot of people have heard of, and it's also, you can't really tell what it's really does from the name. So let's kind of go through that. But I will say, I just said I wouldn't run one-off labs, but if I did, I would always go to the organic acids test. Like, it's literally one of the best tests to tell you about the state of your digestion, your microbial balance, your gut health, a lot of neurotransmitters that can really affect your mood. So it has over 75 biomarkers, which gives you a lot of information. So if this test had another name, it could maybe be called the Complete Candida Metabolic and Vitamins Test. It's really going to give you a great snapshot of those different things, and it'll tell you deficiencies in your body in terms of like vitamins, energy mitochondria producers, neurotransmitters, detoxifiers. These are things that you might be like, oh, why do I need to know that? They're really important to your overall health, and if they're off, you're going to see some of these symptoms start to come up, and we're going to go over what some of those symptoms might be in just a minute. But I want to tell you a little bit about how this lab works because it's different than other tests. So this is a urine-based test. And so this test shows you the leftovers in your urine. It shows you the metabolites in your urine. Those are the leftover things. So why does that matter? So think about it like this. When you go hunting and you want to track a deer, what do you look for? You look for the prints in the mud or in the dirt or whatever it might be. So there's obviously a specific print for each animal that's unique to it, and we know what a deer track looks like. And so it's the same way with metabolites in our body. You can see deficiencies, you can see elevations that shouldn't be there just by looking at the leftovers. And this test, it being a urine test, it has a lot of validity as far as how it holds up in the transportation process. Some of these tests they're not as reliable because the product that you get, like for instance the stool test, there are things that won't show up on a stool test because they're going to die off. They're not going to survive. But the fact that this test is urine based and it's actually the metabolites, that's why you can see a lot more from this test than you could see from other tests. So hopefully that makes sense. So I'm going to give you a little list. I'm going to give you a list on every single one of these just so you can think, okay, this might be a good test for me. Do you suffer from digestive issues, things like bloating, gas, acid reflux, constipation, diarrhea, anything like that? Mood irregularities. This test is actually better than any other test to show why you might have mood irregularities, things like bipolar disorder, anxiety, depression, autism, those types of things. This test will show you way more than any other test. Also immune dysfunction. So that is just a few reasons why you might want to think about the organic acids test and really how it works. This one specifically, though, is a great test for yeast markers because a lot of people think those kind of things show up in a stool test, because we're going to get to what a stool test, what shows up in there. But Candida yeast is not something that shows up a lot in stool tests because it dies off too quickly before they can get it to the lab and sample it. So it's oftentimes not showing up because it's just simply, it's been too long since you collected that stool sample, because obviously there's transit time. So this test actually is the one that helped me discover that I had candida overgrowth, and so now I'm on a protocol of diet and of supplements to help rid my body of that, because it can cause, not only digestive issues, but a lot of other issues as well that might not be so overt that you might not think, oh, that's definitely, a yeast or bacteria that's overgrown. These things can show up in a lot of different ways other than digestive issues. So enough about that. I'm going to go on to the next test, which is food sensitivity. So food sensitivity is a dried blood spot test. So all of these tests are done at home. They're very easy to do. They give you instructions. I actually send you more instructions just in case you need a little bit of extra help. And obviously, I'm always here if you need to contact me if you have any questions. But all of these tests are very easy to do. So I'm going to tell you how you take each test just so you get a good idea. So this one is a dried blood spot test. And a food sensitivity test is really a great way to help you discover what you might be eating that could be causing certain symptoms. And I think it's really interesting how we always think that a healthy food would never cause me to have certain symptoms. But that's just simply not true, because it's not that it's not a healthy food, but you could have other root issues going on, like bacteria overgrowth, like candida, just for instance, that is causing you certain symptoms as well. Or it could be a food sensitivity. You just might be sensitive to it in general, or that it could be caused by something else that's going on. So you see why I want to run multiple tests to see, and if we clear up what's going on, you might not be sensitive to that food anymore. So that's just kind of a way that these tests can work together. But you might not even be aware of the foods that you're eating and how they're causing the symptoms, because you might really like broccoli, and broccoli is a really healthy food, but it might be causing you gas and bloating, and you have no idea that it's coming from that, but you eat it all the time because you're like, I don't really like many other vegetables. I'm just, for instance, and so I eat broccoli all the time, but I'm having this severe bloating and gas issue or whatever it might be. So it's something that is really insightful to know what you're sensitive to so that you can eliminate those foods, allow your body to heal. Obviously, this test is not, let me eliminate this food for like ever. This test is to show you what you're sensitive to so that then you can eliminate it, heal, and then introduce it back in, and then you shouldn't have any reaction to it. You shouldn't have any sensitivity, to it. That's kind of how this test works. So we eliminate it based on the severity of the sensitivity for, something like 6, 12 weeks on up, and then allow your body to heal and then reintroduce it. That's how this test works. So this test is different than like an allergy test that you might get done at the doctor's office, because this test is going to show things you're just sensitive to, not things you're allergic to. Allergic means like you might swell up after you eat peanuts. This is not that kind of test. This tests for an IgG sensitivity, and that is something that happens over in 24 to 72 hours from when you ate the food. So it's more of like a delayed sensitivity. And so these are just a list of things that if you suffer from, you might really, it might be helpful to run a food sensitivity test. So itchy skin, headaches, joint pain, skin rash, low mood, irritability, brain fog, inflammation like muscle weakness, learning disabilities, and just if you have like mysterious pain and stiffness and you don't really know what it's coming from, that honestly, all of these things are caused from the inflammation that your body has when you eat a certain food that you're sensitive to. It just creates more inflammation in your body. And so that's actually what is causing all of these various things that I mentioned. So that's a little bit about the food sensitivity test. We're going to move on to the thyroid adrenal hormone test. And obviously, as the name would say, this is a hormone test. It does test for thyroid as well, and also androgen. So we'll kind of go over that in just a minute. But this test, it tests saliva. It's tested by saliva samples and also dried blood spot samples. So there's no doubt, I think you probably know that hormones play a really pivotal role in how we feel and how we age and symptoms that we might have. So this is one of the main reasons that I included this in my kind of combo pack that goes with the course. We're going to talk about that in just a minute, how and why I put this all together. But this is a really important test, because if your hormones are off, we got to fix that, right? We got to figure out why they're off, get them back to balance so that you don't feel these symptoms. I think sometimes we want to think it's something else, but at a very basic level, if your hormones are off, then you're going to have certain symptoms that, it's not going to go away until you fix the issue. So this test tests thyroid markers. It tests estrogen level, progesterone levels. It tests things like testosterone, DHEA. And I know you might not understand what all those mean, but those are all hormones in your body that when they're off, it can be related to a lot of different things, but it's very important to know that they're off so that we can work on balancing them. And another thing that this test gives you is it gives you cortisol levels, which are very, very insightful when you think about your body's response to stress, because I've talked about cortisol levels before, so I won't spend a ton of time on that, but your cortisol should be in a certain pattern throughout the day. It should be highest in the morning. It should be kind of falling off at noon, kind of keep gradually falling until it's the lowest at night when you go to bed, and then it rises as you're asleep and it's highest in the morning. So that's why you should have more energy in the morning than you do any other time of the day. And if that's off, that's a really good indicator that your circadian rhythm and your maybe night and day orientation is off. But cortisol is really going to give us a good indication of where your stress levels are. So that's something that's really insightful that only this test tests for. Also, this is going to test for insulin levels and vitamin D levels, which are really also insightful. So a list of symptoms that if you suffer from, you might want to think about doing the thyroid adrenal hormone test. So low energy, low mood, low libido. Those are kind of obvious, right? Especially the libido part. Weight gain, that's another one that's really important when you think about, I just can't lose weight. I'm doing all the things, but I just can't lose weight. This could be an issue that you might be having because of that. Puffiness, anxiety, depression, brain fog, thinning, or brittle hair. These are all, that's just a small list of the symptoms that you could feel if your hormones are off. Okay, next we're going to go to the hair tissue mineral analysis test. And obviously this is a hair test. But this is actually a really great test for somebody that's stressed out, they're tired, they're anxious, they're overwhelmed. This test is going to be a really great thing to show which electrolytes and mineral levels might not be balanced. And that can really tell us how you deal with stress in life. And this test will enable you to see kind of how well your nervous system is handling stress. And it can be really insightful to know, like, what stage are you at in the kind of adrenal dysfunction area. If you've been dealing with chronic stress and it's just been time, day after day, month after month, this test is going to really give us good insight on what level you're at with that, so that we can really create a specific protocol and plan so that you can start the healing process and you can honestly move quicker through that. Obviously, it's going to take time still, but the fact that we can be really, really pinpoint with our recommendations, it's going to help tremendously. This test can also test for heavy metals, although it's not like the gold standard for heavy metals. If you really feel like you have a heavy metal issue and you wanted to test for that, there's actually a urine-based test that can be done that I can order as well. But this will give you a little bit of a indication if you might be higher in heavy metals. So a quick list of if you suffer from, this might be a really great test for you. High stress, anxiety, overwhelm. I'm like 2020, I feel like, all of us probably could say that we've probably dealt with that, especially sometime in the last 6 or 7 months. Learning disabilities, especially in children. Mood disturbances, like high, low energy, just kind of you go through those phases really, really hard, I guess you could say. Headaches, skin rashes, tingling or numbness, and then poor sleep. Those are some different things that if you suffer from, this test might be really good for you. Okay, last but not least is the stool test, and obviously the name denotes it's from a stool sample. So stool testing has really become very popular as a way to just see where your microbiome is. That just really means like your entire gut health, and looking for parasites, gut bacteria, imbalances, H. pylori. These are things that we're becoming more familiar with. If you've been following just wellness-minded people in general, they've probably talked about your microbiome before. It's kind of becoming a word that we're more familiar with, which I'm glad about, because it really does make such a huge difference in our overall health. But the specific test that I have chosen is a really unique. And honestly, the problem with some of the other tests is that they're lacking in accuracy, reliability, and functionality. And so I've chosen a test that they've really used the most advanced and accurate technology so that it gives us a true picture of your gut microbiome as a whole. And this test obviously will explore different pathogens in your gut and different keystone species of bacteria that are crucial to overall health. So this test is really unique in that. And what I really like is that it gives you amazing insights on very actionable things that you can do with your diet and your lifestyle, supplement recommendations, different things like that, just by looking at this one test. So that's why I chose this specific company to go with, because I feel like they are really cutting edge in their technology, and you get a lot more information with that so that you can take action on that specifically. So really quickly, things that if you suffer from, you might want to think about a stool test. Bloating upon awakening. This is different than if you eat something and get bloated. If you are just bloated when you wake up with very, very little food on your stomach, that would be a really great sign that you probably have a parasite. So that's why I'm listing these, and they're very specific. If you have adult acne and it's specifically on your back or forehead, now all of these are not like you definitely have the X, Y, or Z. I'm not saying that, but these are specific symptoms that you might want to consider running a stool test if you have these specific ones. If you traveled abroad and had any sickness from it, if you have autoimmune issues, if you have recurrent UTIs, if you have really bad allergies and asthma, if you have trouble gaining or losing weight. Like almost every single one of these said that. So I totally get that's not super specific, but it can be a problem of some of these imbalances and different things that you might have overgrown in your gut if you have trouble losing or gaining weight. And then an itchy anus. So that's one is kind of self-explanatory. If you tend to get that or your child does, it could be a really good indicator that something is off balance in your gut. And so this test will be really helpful in knowing that. So that's a little bit of an overview of the testing that I offer that really gets down below the surface. If you get a snapshot picture of what is going on in your body so that we really can know going forward a specific protocol just for you. And like I said, the really great thing is that it's going to speed up your healing. Not that healing can necessarily be sped up. It's going to take time, but it might take months instead of years, let's say. And I'm definitely all about that. Like I want to work smarter, not harder. If I'm going to work hard, right, I really want to work smarter in that. And so I really love having this information because it really helps me to know a specific time frame that I can expect healing, and it also gives me a specific diet to follow, gives me a specific supplement regimen to follow. So I really found a lot of value in that, and so that's why I wanted to offer this to you as well. And so just wanted to go through a few questions that I have received. And if you have any more, if you're watching live or this recording, you can definitely message me or comment below this video and I'll come back and answer. But one question that I've gotten is, why did you put these labs together? And why are they with the course? Because a lot of, you heard me talking about labs, and then you heard me talking about this course. So why are they together? So first of all, they're together because if I were to not have the course and I were to just have the labs, I would have to spend way more time on you one-on-one to tell you basically everything that I want to tell you, which now is in the course. So it's going to save you lots of money that I've made this course, because if I were to sit down, it would take me like 5 sessions at least to even scratch the surface on what is in this course. And so I really did it as a way that you can do it on your own time. We don't have to meet one-on-one for that information, and you can go ahead and start taking action on it right away. And you can always refer back to it. So it's really a win-win for everybody. And so I can also help more people this way. So that's what the course is. It's really a way that you can go ahead and take action on the things that are in there, because there's going to be some lag time. Whenever you sign up for the course plus labs and you want to run the labs, that's optional. I'm not sure if I mentioned that, but you can purchase the course by itself, or you can purchase the course plus the lab add-on. And so that is really a way that you can go ahead and start taking action while we're waiting on getting these lab tests done, sending them back in. They have to send me the information. I have to create a protocol. Like all that stuff takes about 3 or 4 weeks. And so this is a way that you can go ahead and do it now. You can go ahead and start taking action on it. That's why I created the course. And then now, why are the labs added on to that? Obviously, because they go hand in hand. I only created the course because I wanted to make sure that you had the information that you needed. It was all in one place, and you could take action on it right away, and you would have it as a resource. And I also created it because it's a standalone option. Some people might not be ready for labs yet. And like I said, you can get 80% of the way there with the course alone. There's so much just impactful information in there. I did not empty my entire brain into a course. I only gave you the need to know, and I created them in really bite-sized chunks. There might be 2 videos that are over 20 minutes, and they're only like 30 minutes long. And so it's not like hours long video. Like you're going to get these in nice little chunks, and there's going to be action steps as well, because it's going to be something that you can take action on right away. But I had the lab add-on there because I see a lot of value in adding that too, so that you can get this information that's going to be able to help me help you get a really great personalized protocol. And so the course is foundational, and the lab add-ons are just to give us more information so that I can give you a more personalized protocol. And it's also a way that we can work more so one-on-one. And so with that, I've included a couple of different options. So you can just purchase the course. You can just purchase the course plus 3 labs, which those 3 labs are the organic acids test, the thyroid adrenal hormone test, and the hair mineral tissue analysis test. So that's kind of the base package with the labs. And then up underneath that, you'll see, I'm going to share with you the page that you can go to look at all this. You're going to see there's additional add-ons. So if you wanted to add on a food sensitivity test, if you wanted to add on a stool test, or if you just wanted to get the whole complete package, you're going to get all 5 labs. You can do that as well. So all of that is there. There's way more information as well that you can go and look through and just see what's going to be the best fit for you. I have also gotten the question of, if I just want to purchase the course now and then I want to come back and do the labs later, is that possible? And do I have to like purchase the whole package again? And so I'm definitely going to not make you do that, right? If you purchase the course and you come back and say, I really want to add the labs on, I'm going to give you $100 off the course plus lab. So basically, you're not paying for the course twice. And so that's a little bit of questions that I've received. So hopefully that clears up some things. But I want to direct you to carriecoody.com/rebalance. That's going to give you all the information on this course. It's going to give you information on the labs. And I'm excited. I'm excited because I'm now able to help you in such a more of a deeper overall way. Because before, a lot of times I was guessing and just different symptoms that were coming up, and I could recommend different things. But now I can really get to the root of the issue, and I can help you heal to the fullest degree and really be free from those symptoms that might have plagued you for years. And maybe this is something that you never thought was possible. And I want to just tell you, like, it is possible for your body to heal. You have to go about it the right way. And sometimes you have to have these specific information to know what's really going on so that you can add in that last piece of healing. So I'm so excited that you joined me today and that you're here on this journey with me, because the thing is, I am a constant learner. I love to learn, and so I'm going to be learning right along with you. And I just love that we can join in that together. And so let me know if you have any other questions on this. Thank you for joining me for this part 2 of the workshop series. And again, you can go on my website and see both of these recordings. If you missed part 1, you can go check that out too. I'm going to put that on the blog tomorrow, so both parts will be up there. And I'm just looking forward to this. I think this is a great way that we can really look to create the type of help that we really want in such an ordered way, right? And not have to guess. I just love that. All right, guys, I will see you later. Bye, everyone.